Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Leo Ashton about House of the Dragon on HBO. Welcome to the show, man. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, sorry, what did you say?
It's an honor to be here.
It's an honor and privilege to be speaking to you. This is so amazing. I mean, the last episode, everyone keeps talking about it nonstop, episode 7 and everything. Before we kind of get into that, I mean, you're part of a show which is part of one of the biggest kind of like TV universes of all time, the Game of Thrones universe. So what is that like, kind of being part of House of the Dragon, being part of that Game of Thrones universe, Leo?
Well, I could come on it and play it cool and say, well, I'm not going to. It's crazy. The amount of messages I've been getting, I feel like my thumb is in so much pain because they keep on coming through and I'm like, I can't not reply to them. I'm constantly going on there. I'm replying to everything. People I wasn't so close with are now coming up to me like, how are you doing? How's life? It's just crazy. I've never had anything like it before.
And it's really global. Like it's crazy to see like how global the show is. Like there's people, we go on like a Popternative's Instagram and we see like people from all around the world have been talking about the episodes.
Yeah, I mean, I've had messages from so many places: Brazil, Portugal, Spain, like everywhere, like places I wouldn't even think would be watching it. Places like it's just crazy. So I'm so happy to be a part of it.
I can't even imagine the amount of learning experiences on set, kind of working a lot of the scenes of Aemond. Like I can't even imagine. There's so many of them, I'm sure, and everything, because you get there and it's just big scale and there's everything. On the top of your head, are there specific kind of things that you can share with me, learning experience wise, working on the show?
I think probably one of the actors I learned a lot from was Ty Tennant, who played Aegon. He played my brother, obviously, and he was so amazing. I mean, on the show, he's incredible, but he's constantly in character. And I learned a lot from that, going on and seeing him. He'd be talking to me in character, so I'd be like, I have to talk back. I have to talk back in character. And I mean, I think that was incredible. I learned a lot from him. I also haven't played royalty before, in a sense. So, learning the accent, all that kind of stuff was incredible. And then stunts wise, I already kind of knew some stunts, but I had to work out a lot. I had to get in the gym, all that kind of stuff, because the amount of body strength you have to do for something like that. And then working with some of the best actors in the world as well. I mean, the huge names in the show is incredible. I'm able to work with them at just, only 14 is crazy.
That's like school, right? Like all the basic actors you got to work with. That's like acting school on set while you're working.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've been saying. It's like, I'm not going to need to go to acting school. I've worked with, man.
That was House of the Dragon. That's enough. No, it absolutely. And, it's really cool to kind of see and that's why I think we love Game of Thrones and we love House of the Dragon as well. Like all the tensions kind of going on and everything. Like that must have been also something too, like learning experience wise, kind of being part of those scenes where maybe it's not you, but those meetings with everything that kind of happened with your character and everything. There's a lot of tension in the show.
There's so much tension in some of these scenes, especially that last scene that I was in with everyone where everyone comes and meets up.
Oh yeah.
It was, when they said cut, it was silence for a good 5 seconds while everyone got out of character, because on set, that's a long scene to film. So filming it when, before everyone was there getting in character, then we'd say cut. Everyone would take a while to get out of character, but before they could, we'd be back on the scene. And then also, it's like theatre in the way that you rehearse it, because we'd be there for hours. And we'd rehearse everything, all the movements. We had this huge space where we'd go and rehearse. We'd read through everything. And at one point, we finished rehearsing the kids, and we were there with all the adult actors as well. Mm-hmm. So they said, the kids can go off now. We finished rehearsing with them. And I was like, no, I want to stay. I want to watch these incredible actors, how they
Again, back to the school. Yeah, the school, man. I know, like, no, that scene with like, yeah, that's like when I got this interview confirmed too. That like that last scene where everyone's in after the fight and everything. That was just like the tension in that scene. You're watching as an audience member, and you're like, oh, like this is going down. So I can't even imagine being on set.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it and I filmed it, and I felt like I felt the tension as well. It's like I knew what was about to happen. I was like, she did that? What? I didn't know that happened.
Obviously, you know, that episode 7, I mean, that's a big episode for your character. That's a huge episode. People, you know, who follow you on Instagram, there's already been some kind of behind the scenes, also from the House of Dragon Instagram and HBO accounts about everything. I mean, people are saying that, you know, the dragon ride is one of the most iconic things to, you know, ever have happened in the Game of Thrones universe. People keep going back to that clip over and over again. Yeah. I mean, what was that like? I mean, I can't even imagine like your mindset early on preparing for that Aemond's going to ride a dragon. What can you tell me about that? It's crazy, man.
Wow. So about a year before, we fitted the book, we got everything ready. I got on it, made sure it all fitted, and then a year after, we came and they were like, "All right, so the last thing we're going to film for you is your dragon ride." And I was like, "This is incredible! I'm so excited." I went on the first day, and I'm gonna be completely honest, my confidence was not there. I wasn't at my best. I was terrified. I was a good like 11 foot in the air on this book with wind flying in my face. It was crazy. So then I took a break and I came back the next day. And I spoke to Miguel and he was like, "Look, I know you can do this. Just show us, you know, what you're made of, really." And at that point, I was like, it's been a dream, you know, since I was a kid. And I just went on there and I did it. And that's how it all came together, really, I'd say so.
It's so amazing. Did you know, like, when you were cast and everything, like the scripts and everything, did you know that was like the bit, like the dragon ride, like even getting the drive that was in there?
No, I had no idea. It was a really long audition progress, actually, because I didn't actually know what it was at first. I think for the first 4 auditions, I had no idea. We weren't told. And then it got to the final 3, I'd say, when we started going in. And then we started getting like, this could be it. And then they put the names in there. And then obviously we researched it, realized who I was. But even then, I didn't know I was going to be doing it. It was right up until that book bit where they're like, "Oh, you're going to be riding a dragon." I was like, "What? What?"
And just from like a viewership perspective, the events that led to your character riding the dragon are just, it's just amazing. You know what I mean? Like there's like people, it's funny, like, right? Like people see that scene, but it's like, if they find out the context and how that all happened and why you did that, it's even better, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, my character, I think in the book, it's portrayed quite differently how I played the character. And then me and Miguel often talked about, you know, how me and him want to make a character that goes from being like bullied and constantly being told he's not good enough by people, and then he finds his dragon and his attitude changes. And I think that is where the villain comes out, you know, when he
the switch flips, right? It's like a flip of the switch almost.
Yeah, and then, you know, there's little bits after that dragon ride. Obviously, I have my line, "It's me," and I think that's where the cockiness comes in. And then when they say, "Oh, he called us bastards," and I smile, I think that's another bit. And there's just little bits that really show it. And I'm actually quite excited to see the next episode myself, because that's where it all completely blows up.
I know, it's crazy. And also in episode 7 too, I wanted to ask you, is there was, like you said, about the bastards and everything, there was that fight sequence and everything. What can you also tell me about that? I mean, that was a big episode for your character.
So, you know, going into the fight scene, I think there was 5 of us, and we were already really good friends. We were in Cornwall at the time. No, we were in London at the time, and we'd just come off Cornwall. So we had this amazing relationship. Going into it, we split it up into, I think, about 4 or 5 pieces each day. And each day we do a different bit. And everyone was so exhausted after each day. Even the first day where we didn't even do any of the fighting, it was so warm. It was like a little tunnel. and there was about 3 exits, and it was pouring it down outside. So you couldn't stay inside, but you didn't want to go outside either. It was exhausting, the whole thing, but still a dream, an absolute dream.
Absolutely. And that's something you like really wanted. Like that's something you were looking forward to. Like that was a dream for you too, like specifically the fight sequence.
Yeah, the fight sequence. I mean, as I've said, it's a dream, you know. Ever since I was a kid, I've wanted to be James Bond, and doing something like that with people that I'm such good friends with is incredible.
No, it's so great. And, you know, people are so excited for more episodes of the show on HBO. Leo, thank you so much for your time. It was great chatting with you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so House of the Dragon on HBO, and your Instagram account, you put some really cool behind the scenes on that. Is that just your name?
It is Leo_Ashton_.
Perfect. So they can check it out because there's some pretty cool behind the scenes things in there. Like that video of the dragon was going to research for the interview. Which is awesome. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Leo Ashton from House of the Dragon on HBO and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.